Pullela Gopichand is usually found from 4:35 in the morning till 6 or 7 in the evening at his academy. So how's it been for you at home all this time?
Surprisingly, it's not been bad. In fact, I've enjoyed my stay at home. In fact, when we came back from UK, it was sensitive period. It was around the 15th of last month. And I came directly. I was not sure how things were. So I came into quarantine directly, although it wasn't mandatory at that point of time. So I came to the farm in Hyderabad, and I continued to stay there. And last week, after 21 days, I had my wife and kids. Kids joined me after 21 days. So now it's good.
Okay, but this isn't your place. This isn't your house. You actually staying somewhere else in the farm.
Yeah, at my house, actually, parents are there, and with the reason that elders need to be isolated, I think we've kind of decided to have them stay at home, and we've come to the farm.
Okay, but what's happening with your academies? And I've been to, there are two of them in Gachibowli area that I've been to. So what's happening there? Who's looking after them? They're pretty big. And need a lot of maintenance.
So we have very skeletal staff which is there to maintain the housekeeping part of it. People who've been residing there, but apart from that, we've been closed for a month now.
And actually, before the All England, also a lot of players decided to skip the All England and decided that there's no point going to risk it, and they also left because I think there were a few cases around that area as well.
Yeah, I think in general there was one case which turned out to be negative, but the apprehension in general, and I think the way things were at that point of time, this was kind of March 10th kind of a time, where UK started to have cases. Then there was Italy, which was fast spreading. So people in general were a bit skeptic about travel and stay. And basically with the first option, safety being a priority, everybody started to move back.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of criticism, Gopi, hasn't it, of the All England? And do you think that in hindsight, all of you who went there took a very big risk by going to play the All England? I know it's a very prestigious tournament. It's something very dear to your heart. One of your most famous victories and most memorable triumphs. But do you think in hindsight, you all should not have gone?
Well, I was clear. I didn't want to go. I didn't want the players to go. But of course, it was the players' choice which prevailed. So I didn't have an option. That's why I went. Initial plan was not to go. But the Korean coach, Park, had issues with his travel. And some of the other coaches had dropped out, and some of the support staff dropped out. So I joined in the last moment, almost as a necessity. But definitely, I think conducting the All England at that point of time, even then I thought the same, and even today I think the same. It's that it was a very big risk which should have been avoided. So players whom I could influence, whom I said, like Pranoy, Samir and Saurav, I said, if it's not going to make a huge difference to your world ranking / Olympic qualification, then it's not worth taking the risk. And there were players who had a chance of winning, or if you have an Olympic qualification, if it hangs in balance because of that tournament, I think you can go. But from an organizational point of view, I do believe that that tournament should not have taken place.
Yes, I'm going to come to the Olympic postponement and also the leadership role your sport has played in terms of the BWF. But I want to ask you, you're a very hard taskmaster. So, if I had to call you up once at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning to do an interview, and I've seen you at the academy training Sindhu before the last Olympics at 4:30 in the morning, it involved me waking up at 3:30. That's a different matter, and driving across town. But you're not going to let this period just go by. So are you having some kind of interactive sessions with all those people training in your academy, maybe the India players, something to keep them going?
Yeah, we have on a similar platform, we actually are having fitness sessions in the morning, and we have a trainer who comes and we have some strength and conditioning sessions in the evening. So we roughly are managing to do about 11 sessions a week, even now on the online platforms. Of course, it's not the same as having a physical court and getting to hit the shuttles, but you have to do the best of what we can. And we're trying to keep ourselves busy and basically mentally and physically in good shape.
How essential is it, Gopi, that in this period not to lose that fitness? Because badminton is an extremely grueling sport, and if you're not even a 98% fit, it shows on the court at some point of time. Especially now with these matches, stretching to 3 games at times, going up to 23, 24. In those close matches, it sort of shows, right? So it's very essential not to completely, lose track of your fitness. And that's a question I've been asking all the sports persons I've been talking to.
Well, it's of paramount importance. I think, in fact, anybody who comes out of the lockdown physically not in very good shape, or some aspects of their game improved because of the lockdown, is going to miss out. I would say people in sport go through injuries, and injury times are probably a month, month and a half, 2 months sometimes. So people are okay with going through a bad phase or a phase where they're not able to do anything. But you still manage to do your mental training, your visualization. You can do things which involve little movement, whether it's strengthening or whether it's like work which you can do to strengthen your forearms, your flexibility, your explosive power. Some of these things don't require much space. What you require is a smart brain and an earning to keep doing. And for me, I think we don't know what the scenario is. We don't know whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year. We just don't know. And all we need to do is to ensure that we are in a good physical shape and a mental shape whenever it starts. So the objective, and I've always maintained this, is the process is the goal. And to go and do what needs to be done is what is important. When it happens, how it happens is not in our hands. Especially in these times, we don't even know when the next tournament is. But I think whenever it is, I am ready is what the idea should be. And to get and make yourself stronger and stronger is what the idea should be during the lockdown as well.
No, because it's important you say that, Gopi, because the way things stand at the moment, I honestly don't see resuming at least full time before October, and even that could be a stretch. Especially with some countries having these travel restrictions, others still imposing quarantine regulations. This could still, October could still be, too early.
Yeah, I think one way is to go gather all the information and speculate. For all you know, we might be wrong at that. But I think at the end of the day, it's simple stuff. You get up in the morning, feel motivated to do some kind of a training, make yourself busy the entire day with things which are positive, and then get in a good night's sleep and start off the next day positively again. I think that's all you can do. As you said, rightly said, I think it could be October 2020, it could be 2021. We don't even know. And we're just guessing all this stuff. And as an athlete, with or without this lockdown, the process should be the goal. And that's what's important, to keep yourself motivated and push yourself day in and day out with whatever resources you have.
Gopi, see, most of India's locked down, most of Europe is locked down, America is locked down. Across, if you go towards the other part of Asia, that too, some countries are locked down, some are not. You think that when the global sporting calendar resumes, will it be fair? Because in certain countries where they've sort of managed to contain this coronavirus, the training has been going on. Like that reports we are getting is that, say, in Chinese Taipei, the likes of Taichung have been able to, keep their training going. In China, certain parts of China, training is going on. These are ultimately the main rivals for our players. So when sport resumes, will it be fair?
Well, sport has never been fair. So I don't think it is. It is the best of what you can do, and the people who get the best facilities don't necessarily win. So I think, from my perspective, if you were to look at it, I think this is what we have, and it is not a bad scenario because by the time, especially for badminton, if BWF were to announce, now they've said July, till July we don't have tournaments, and even after July they have to give 5 weeks time for the deadline of entries, and you also have time before that to enter, and then you have your visas and hotel bookings and travel arrangements. So I see that whenever there is a start period where things are all right, they will have at least 2 months before, prior notice, before we can even think of start playing. So I think that time is good enough. If you don't mess up your lockdown period and go down drastically on some of the fundamental things.
Okay, let's talk now about the Olympics and the way things were shaping up. Would you consider this postponement of the games as a sort of a, not a blessing in disguise, but something that could work out in India's favor? Because if the way things stood and with these tournaments getting cancelled, all we were looking at is maybe 2 or maximum 3 entries at the Olympics if they were held in July 2020.
Yes, I think to have a year, I think most coaches would have said yes. And because the way the last year was, it was very hectic, and it was getting no time to train. And with the year now available, and with the qualification sort of the 52 weeks of the qualifying, the majority period was done with only a small part left. I would believe that this time is good for the players to rest and train and get back.
But you spoke about the qualifying period, and this is where I have issues with the leadership in your sport, which is the BWF, because see, we've all spoken about sport and especially the Olympics in depth. We've had these conversations over the last 15 years that I've sort of known you, and a player or his support staff, the coaches, everyone, they put in everything for those 4 years just for that one shot at Olympic glory. Now, the Olympic qualifying process that way is sacrosanct. Every sport has a different qualifying process, so has your sport. What was happening in badminton was that with these tournaments getting cancelled, players were not getting a fair chance. In a sense, with these tournaments getting cancelled and nothing else was coming their way in terms of replacement tournaments.
Well, the Olympic qualification period, was ending in April, and we didn't have tournaments from, say, the second week of March. So we have about 8 weeks left in the qualification period, and the BWF hasn't still announced the new qualification norms. I would believe, or I would want to see that they consider the 44 weeks which have finished, which all players and coaches and support teams thought that these were part of the qualifications, to stay the way they are, and the rest of the 8 weeks to be adjusted. So whatever tournaments have been lost are going to take place either exactly at the same time next year, or maybe at some point of time during this year, where every tournament which is lost is replaced by a equal graded tournament during that time. So I would believe that the BWF would do something like that. So I don't think the players will be missing out on the cancellation of tournaments in any way.
That's an important point you make, Gopi, because look at what World Athletics has done. All qualifying tournaments till December 4th. So ideally, you would think that when sport resumes, perhaps September, October, November, you would have a fresh qualifying period also added. You think that's going to be unfair? That it's not correct that you're going to have, say, 7 to 8 tournaments over a 6-month period till perhaps May 2021 to give everyone else a due chance. You think that what's already happened should happen, and it's just those tournaments that went missing, those are the ones, to be fair to everyone. Or else you could have a dramatically different kind of a qualification scenario.
Yeah, I do believe that whatever people have thought of as Olympic qualifications and put their money and effort to qualify, should stay. And we are not a not a tournament or a country where or a sport where the uh, the slots are decided by tournaments. They're decided by an aggregate of the points gained. So in that kind of a scenario, I think it makes sense to retain these, and the additions could be exactly the tournaments which have been lost in the previous time. So one of the things which might happen is people who have comfortably in the position to qualify at this moment of time might relax too much and not train enough because their slot in the Olympics is confirmed. And we might have a slightly lower standard than the highest level, which is supposed to be at the Olympics. That's the only risk which is happening. Having said that, I think whether it's any national federation or international federation or the BWF, whatever norm or whatever new qualifications they're going to talk about is going to get a bit of a flack because people will look at it from their own prism and probably look at whether it's benefiting them or not, and they could be critical of it. But having said that, I think they're in a difficult job. These are difficult times. I think we should let them decide if it's reasonably fair. I think it's fine. I think let's go ahead and move on rather than look at individual cases.
Okay, Gopi, do you have to recalibrate your approach towards an Olympic Games? Because see, I've spent time with you before London 2012 and before Rio 2016. Usually, you take those 2 and 3 months before the Olympics and you intensely train with the players who have qualified for these Olympic Games. You may not have that much time. Perhaps if this is the IOC is now saying that the qualification last date could be the end of June 2021. We don't know how things will pan out. But do you now have to come up with something new in terms of the way you're going to prepare your teams for the Olympics?
Yes, I think right from say 2008, 12, 16 to now, things are different. The players are at a different level. We have a lot more foreign coaches in place. So we have specialized event coaches which are there. So definitely my role will be different, and I will look at it closer to the tournaments and closer to the Olympics, and at the time when the tournament schedule is out, and then decide what the best is for the athlete, each one of them.
Okay. Now, I was speaking to Abhinav Bindra a few weeks back, and I was asking him exactly this, about how do various athletes sort of cope with this delay? Because especially someone in his sport of shooting, they've already achieved their quota places in specific tournaments going back to 2018 after the Asian Games, leading up to the to last year, at the end of last year at the Asian Championships. So their period of actually waiting for the Olympics increases by 15 more months. It's difficult to sustain your peak. There are lots of kids who have under 18 who qualified for the Olympic Games. His point was that those experienced will actually cope with this much better. The example could be this works out very well for Kento Momota, the world number 1 in men's singles, who actually had a horrific accident earlier this year, and he was off. And even though he had good ranking points, the fact was there was a question mark over his participation. Do you think the time has now come, as you said, because this is an unprecedented situation? Do you think time has perhaps come for all the top minds in Indian sport to get together, perhaps under the aegis of the sports authority or the ministry, and sort of recalibrate the approach and see what other sports can help your sport? Like shooting is a very mental kind of a sport. Perhaps something the shooters are doing right can be incorporated in badminton. Perhaps the extreme fitness drill hockey does can be used by badminton as well. You think that sort of thing is possible, that everyone needs to come together because there are new circumstances and sort of get a collective kind of a effort going, instead of, because mostly all sports are their own people?
Well, I think the next few months will be very critical. We don't know. It could be we are down to a May 3rd lockdown. We don't know how things plan out post that. We may not have tournament exposures till late. Maybe we can talk about it, but we may not have the kind of tournaments which will be required. So I think from a sport perspective, these are very different things, and definitely it will help to have sporting minds of other sports join in together, and then we can plan something. We might even look at a quarantine facility for all sports together, because things may not be the same, in the sense if an athlete is there in say Delhi or Bombay, travel and stay somewhere else could be a problem. So uh, in Delhi, what's the best sort? The 10 best athletes across sport in a facility can stay there and be quarantined and do their fitness drills together, do their mental training together, and then let's closer to the economy or the country opening up from the lockdown, we actually start to travel and or we might have to start doing local domestic leagues and tournaments, because we might have a lockdown lifted and India could be better off than the rest of the world, but the rest of the world may not be open for tournaments. So we might have to have domestic tournaments to supplement the lack of international exposure. So we are going through difficult times. So I have never used an app to do fitness, and suddenly that's become the norm now. So that's very important. So we are monitoring stuff. We are looking at different techniques to develop your skill. Visualization becomes very important. So I think I think we need to adapt fast. We need to think quickly, and we have to think out of the box.
Yes, adaptability. That's ultimately something which is going to hold every athlete, sports person in this country in good stead. And that's an interesting point you make, because already the hockey teams, both the hockey teams are in Bangalore, inside that Sai Center, which is away from the city. Nobody else is allowed inside, so their training is going on and they're completely isolated. Perhaps if you could identify something, if I remember during the 2010 Commonwealth Games, Pune, Balewadi, it had great facilities and everyone was sort of inside that. The shooters were there, hockey was there, and other sports were all training there. Perhaps that's something, a point which the ministry could look at, and I raise this point with them, because, as you said, the isolation can continue for a while, but everyone needs to continue training, because some other countries in the world are doing that. Gopi, thanks a lot for your perspective, and hopefully someone is listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gopi.